Hi, I'm Ria Pia, and today we're going to talk about whimsy and how to make a life that is worth living. One of my biggest insecurities growing up was that I was overly friendly, overly whimsical, and creative to the point where I came across as unserious and naive. I'm a 24-year-old woman that wears heart-shaped glasses, shirts with fan art that I've made, a Converse with fruits embroidered into them. I viewed myself as the poster child for goofiness. And recently, I've been coming to terms with being less insecure about doing everything that I do with a touch of creativity, because I'd rather come across as unserious than come across as fucking miserable. In other words, being whimsical genuinely makes my life more livable, and it probably could for you too. So, what does it actually look like to live a life with whimsy? Well, for me, it comes down to 4 basic tenets. The first is that you have to listen to your inner child. Children are the epitome of whimsy. You give a child something as dull as a rock and they will find a way to create a wonderful world around it. The truth is, when we get older, we tend to lose sight of that which makes us childlike. We often look back on our childhood as the fondest moments and wonder what happened to us. And I don't blame us for that. Children typically do not have to worry about rent, student debt, and all the things in between. So what I mean by you should listen to your inner child is that you should find ways to fuse your adult responsibilities with your childlike sensitivities. For me, that translates to dressing exactly how I want. If I'm wearing a blue outfit, I like to wear my shark-themed earrings to match it. And if I'm wearing shark-themed earrings, why not do some shark-themed eyeliner? You get my point. For me, it gets to a point where, if I'm not dressed whimsically, I feel suffocatingly inauthentic. And sometimes I wonder if I should start dressing a little bit more sensible, but then I realize that if I starve myself from authenticity for the sake of how others perceive me, I'll end up living a life that everybody but me wanted me to live. The second tenet is that you should lead with your heart as much as you lead with your mind. I think that if more people led with their heart, the world would just be a better place. So many people are so negative that their pessimism radiates onto other people. Have you ever been in an office with a grumpy coworker? It's like that. Some people are great at making the world feel inhospitable. Your job is to do and be the opposite. I used to be the type of person that felt that I needed to set a certain impression of myself to people so that they wouldn't mess with me. And sometimes that's still a very applicable thing, like if you start a new job or enter a hostile environment. But I also realized that if I carry myself with positivity and kindness, then I'm basically impenetrable. It's as if whimsy creates a bubble around you that very few can burst because you won't let them. A lot of people mistake happy, whimsical people for being weak or naive. But the reality is that the ability to not let others' shitty vibes ruin your day, week, or life is far more intimidating. For me, I actually feel bad for people who don't exude whimsy now, because it's far more liberating than holding on to too much frustration. The third tenet is to make everything creative, especially boring tasks. Life is full of monotony and boredom. There's no way you can file your taxes with a big smile on your face unless you are getting a huge tax refund that year, but that doesn't mean you can't find ways to creatively engage with that which is void of creativity. Sometimes that can translate to something a little bit silly, like putting food coloring in your iced coffee so it turns blue. Other times it can be reminding yourself that you are part of such a big world and imagining ways that your existence might ripple in ways that surprise you. Maybe you go on a hike and pick up a small seed on your shoe that ends up falling off on the complete opposite end of the city a few days later. Maybe that seed actually survives and in 30 years stands tall as a proud tree that only exists because you do too. The fourth tenet in whimsy is actually the most whimsical because it's the most unpredictable. The fourth tenet is resilience. It seems antithetical that a concept as wonderful as whimsy could be associated with something as rigid and intimidating as resilience, but you have to trust me on this one. Because resilience is the wrapping paper that keeps everything together. If you're resilient, it means that you're able to push through hard times and keep being positive. A lot of people look at positive, happy people and think that they're always like that it's an effortless endeavor. But the reality is, being so in control of your life, environment, and thoughts that you're able to roll through life with a pocket full of sunshine is actually pretty tough. Honestly, as whimsical as I say I am, I struggle with this too. The other day, I was rejected from a job for being too cheery. It was a job where my sole task was to support other people, but instead of getting down about it, even though I could low-key use the money, I know that I am resilient and that I will be just fine. And so, a big part of being whimsical is actually utilitarian. You utilize whimsy to push through life, regardless of the obstacles it throws at you, with a strong sense of creativity and positive thinking. The art of being whimsical is such that it provides you a philosophy to live life with as much gratification as possible. In finding satisfaction or fun in even the most shitty or mundane situations, you become the type of person that makes a room light up. And in times where you lose your whimsy, that's also okay too. That's all part of the journey, and it wouldn't be whimsy without a little bit of turbulence anyway. So I make you a pinky promise that if you add a little bit of whimsy to your life, it will all get a lot better. This video was different and a little bit shorter than my usual videos, but nonetheless, if you liked it, please consider subscribing. I'm a very small channel, so your subscription goes a very long way, and it lights up my day and it fills it with whimsy.